Well, it's not really a happy day in terms of the Aaron Hernandez story in the NFL, which is far beyond any of these stories that we've seen in recent years, and potentially this is one that may be around for a long time, and it's going to. I think as things like whenever something like this happens, there is always going to be in the group like us who are looking to find out reasons or explore why it happened, to wonder exactly that. Why did this happen? What are the reasons? Is this something that can be prevented? Is this something that you can actually, if you're the NFL or specifically if you're the Seahawks? You brought up on the show today that one of the things that with the Seahawks, they've been willing to take chances on character and things like that. Can you allow something like this, which is admittedly so far from what these stories normally are, impact how you go about procuring your players?
Yeah, I don't know if we would see a decisive change in anybody's philosophy, or the Seahawks, again, a team that we've talked about many times, being willing to take those risks. Now, it's a big jump from a kid who gets busted smoking pot or has a conflict with his head coach at the college level that, all of a sudden they're going to become murderers, because, as you said, it's a very rare thing. We had the Ray Lewis incident, we had the Ray Caruth incident. Outside of that, it's not often you see it, that level of trouble. But I think maybe you might be able on some level to determine, all right, just in an interview with a kid and the kind of trouble he's been in, if it's been consistent. Mm-hmm. And the interview to me is going to be even more crucial. That to me will be the one thing that maybe if it's not enough emphasis on it now, there'll be even more emphasis on, all right, who are we really dealing with, and what do we feel like he might be capable of down the road? Is this somebody who it would be completely out of sight to think he'd be doing something like this? Or is this somebody you'd look at and go, well, I guess that possibility could exist down the road, depending on what kind of trouble he's been in and how he comes across in that interview process during the draft.
I think the point of it is, the ones who are hurt the most by this, obviously the victims, but the ones who are hurt the most by this are the teams themselves. Mm-hmm. If anyone's going to do any policing, the league didn't have to do anything. Those guys, Pete Carroll and company aren't taking guys who they're going to be happy with if they don't make it. They're taking guys they are willing to invest the time. Maybe they understand that there's a potential issue here. We've got to go extra hard for this guy to be successful. Teams are putting their own money into this. So I don't think you've got a situation where it's lax and you're letting all these guys. Look, the Patriots, if they had known there was anything like this was going to go on, and I'm not talking about murdering, but hey, Hernandez is going to be a kid, you're going to have trouble keeping him in uniform. Right. They wouldn't have drafted him. They wouldn't have gotten him. It does not appeal to what they need. There's narrow self-interest involved in here, and for the NFL players, the NFL teams, it's making sure that they've got guys on their team that can play. So right. It strikes me that they'd be the ones who'd be the best at policing it, because it impacts the teams the most.
Yeah, in terms of what the NFL can do to avoid it, or to make it more punitive. If people, I don't really know what they can do. This is such a rare instance. Guys do get in trouble, but it's at a much lower level. So, right. This is so rare. I don't know that you can ever avoid it. You don't know what somebody's going to be capable of. You do your best in the interview process when you do get that time to interview them and try to make the best assessment. It doesn't mean that kid's going to walk the straight and narrow from that point forward. You get a guy that's 22, 23 years old, who's all of a sudden a millionaire, and he's got everybody around him telling him how impermeable he is, how he's just great and he can't be touched. Some kids can handle it and some can't. And Hernandez appears, if he is found guilty, to be a kid who can't handle it.